Yeah, good morning. Alpine guy here out in Idaho. And we're just fiddling around for lack of anything else to do, I guess. But I'm going to do some AC current measurements on the power center. And I'm going to do this just to give you an idea of just how much current you draw. The only thing that I won't be able to do is run the air compressor, or excuse me, the air conditioning compressors, because I'm only plugged into a 20 amp service here at the house. But I will run the AC fans so that you can see what each one of those draws. And currently right now there's absolutely nothing turned on inside the Alpine. And you can see that we are drawing 4/10 of an amp AC current. And you can see that we're measuring off of the red lead, which is usually L1. So the first thing somebody's going to say, well, if nothing is on in the Alpine, then why are you drawing 4/10 of an amp? And the answer to that question is the converter, which is always on when you're plugged into shore power or house power or generator. It's drawing current, maintaining those batteries. And right now there are no lights turned on, nothing is turned on. So you can see that converter is drawing 4/10 of an amp AC current to maintain and charge those batteries. Those batteries, and I have two out there, they're both 6-volt batteries, wired in series to give me 12 volts. But those batteries have a constant draw on them from things like the we'll show you things like the LP detector, which is hardwired directly to the battery. The level up control is also hardwired to the battery, and the control panel and the forward and rear control module. So all those things draw DC current, and so the converter has got to maintain the batteries, and so that's why you see 4/10 of an amp of AC current. All we're talking about in this video is AC current, which is coming off of anything that's drawing 120 volts inside this fifth wheel. Okay, so we're still drawing 4/10 of an amp because the converter is powered on, and we'll get a good focus there, hopefully. And now we're going to turn the converter off, and you can see we still have residual draw. And we flipped a few more breakers off. And when we flipped that one off, that killed the rest of the draw. And what I've done now is I've just turned on the living room AC fan, and you can see now we're drawing 3.5 amps of AC current, and that's with the fan running on high. Compressor is not running. Can't run that here at the house with what we have available for shore power. And I just turned on zone 2, which is the bedroom AC. So now I have both the living room and the bedroom AC fans running on high, along with the television set. And so you can see we're drawing 6 amps of AC current. And I thought while we're here we might as well do a quick DC check, and what we're doing is we're reading the DC voltage right at the bus bar. You can see that I have the 2-meter leads on the plus and minus bus bars of the DC side of the power center, and I have turned the converter is off, and we can see that our batteries right now we're sitting at about 13.2 volts, and that's what's being delivered to the bus from both those batteries. And you can see that slowly that will start dropping. And I just turned on the kitchen overhead fan, and we'll just put a little more draw on the batteries so you can see that we're dropping down to not quite, there's 13 volts, and as soon as it hits 12 volts, 12.9. Okay, we're going to turn the converter back on, and if the converter is functioning properly, which I certainly hope that it is, we should see this voltage rise back up, and you can see that voltage immediately jumped up, and the converter is now supplying the voltage to the bus bar, and it is also recharging those batteries. So you can see right now, with what little that I have turned on, the converter is charging and delivering 13.5 volts DC, both to the bus bar inside here, which distributes the 12 volt power to everything inside the Alpine that needs 12 volts, and it's doing so at 13.6 volts. And once again, so that you can see that, we'll turn the converter off, and you can see that voltage immediately drop. And you can see that my batteries, even though this is their 8th year, these are two 6-volt golf cart batteries wired in series. You can see that those two batteries are in really super good shape. And we'll make one more measurement here just to show you. And so right now we've got 13 volts thereabouts being delivered from the batteries only. The converter is off. And what we're going to do is we're going to retract the bedroom slide a little bit, and you can see that battery voltage drop down because the hydraulic pump is running, and you can see now that I've let off on that, and we're going to re-extend that bedroom slide, and I think we're all the way out. And so with that little bit of operation of the overhead kitchen fan and running the hydraulic pump to move the slides just a little bit, you can see our standing battery voltage being delivered inside the power center right here at the bus bar is 12.5 volts, which is excellent. And we're going to turn this converter back on, and that's what you can hear the converter fan maybe. And that is the cooling fan that's running on the converter, and that's normal, and that will quieten down here in a little while once it returns the charge back to the batteries.